The steady hum of the cargo ship's engines filled the small cockpit as Jack checked his delivery manifest one more time. 6 years of running honest cargo through the outer colonies had taught him to be thorough. The ship wasn't much to look at, an old Model 6 hauler that had seen better days, but it was his, and it kept food on his table. A soft thud from the cargo hold made him freeze. Living alone in space had sharpened his senses, and that sound definitely wasn't normal. Jack grabbed his flashlight and moved quietly toward the back of the ship, his boots making minimal noise on the metal floor. "Whoever's back there," he called out. "I've got cameras everywhere. Might as well come out now." It was a lie. Half his security cameras had stopped working months ago, but stowaways didn't need to know that. The cargo hold looked normal at first glance. Sealed containers lined the walls, each properly tagged and secured. But there, behind that stack of medical supplies, something moved. Jack raised his flashlight, revealing a glimpse of purple skin and wide, startled eyes. "Don't shoot," a voice called out in perfect English. A figure emerged slowly from behind the crates, hands raised. It was a girl, but definitely not human. Her skin was a pale purple, and her hair seemed to shimmer with its own light. Her clothes were expensive-looking but dirty and torn. "I'm not even holding a gun," Jack said, keeping his flashlight steady. "But I've got every right to space you for sneaking onto my ship." He didn't mean it, of course, but sometimes a little threat helped speed conversations along. The alien girl's eyes darted to the nearby airlock, then back to Jack. "Please," she said, her voice trembling slightly. "I can pay. I just need safe passage to the next station." Before Jack could respond, his ship's ancient alert system crackled to life. "Unidentified vessel approaching," the computer announced in its monotone voice. "Weapon systems detected." The girl's face went even paler, if that was possible. "They found me," she whispered. "Please, you have to help me. They'll kill us both now that you've seen me." Jack rushed back to the cockpit, the alien girl close behind. A sleek black ship was closing in fast, definitely not local law enforcement. Its design was alien, all smooth curves and dark metal that seemed to eat the light. "Cargo vessel," a cold voice came through the comm. "Power down your engines and prepare for boarding. This is your only warning." Jack's mind raced. His ship wasn't built for combat or speed, but he knew these lanes better than anyone. "Sit down and shut up," he told his unexpected passenger, dropping into the pilot's seat. "And maybe say a prayer to whatever gods you believe in." He killed the running lights and cut the main engine, letting momentum carry them forward. The pursuing ship slowed, probably thinking they were giving up. That's when Jack fired the emergency thrusters, not forward, but down. His ship dropped like a stone beneath the other vessel. "Hold on," he shouted, igniting the main engine at full power. The sudden acceleration slammed them both back in their seats as they shot forward, diving deeper into the asteroid field that lined this sector. The black ship followed, but more cautiously. They had better weapons and shields, but that meant nothing in the asteroids if you couldn't maneuver fast enough. "They're still following," the girl said, gripping her seat tightly. "Not for long," Jack replied, allowing himself a small smile. He aimed for a particularly dense cluster of rocks. Time to show them why humans are the best pilots in the sector. As they wove through the asteroid field, Jack glanced at his mysterious passenger. "By the way, since we might die together, what's your name?" "Lily," she answered, watching in amazement as he threaded the ship through gaps that seemed impossibly small. "And I'm starting to think I chose the right ship to hide on." Jack grinned as he spotted his favorite smuggler's route ahead, a twisted path through the rocks that local pilots called the Needle. It had claimed plenty of ships over the years, but he'd never lost a race through it. "Well, Lily," he said, "welcome aboard the worst day of my life. Now, let's see if we can live long enough for you to explain why those friends of yours want you dead so badly." Jack's ship burst out of the asteroid field, leaving their pursuers far behind. The old engines wheezed and groaned from the strain, but they had made it. He turned to his purple-skinned passenger, who was still gripping her seat tightly. "All right," he said, setting the ship on autopilot. "Time for answers. Those weren't regular pirates back there. The bounty on your head must be huge." Lily stood up slowly, her shimmering hair catching the starlight from the viewport. "You're right. It's 50 million credits." She spoke quietly, watching Jack's reaction. His eyes widened. That was enough money to buy 10 ships like his. "What did you do?" "Rob a space bank." "I stole information," she said, pulling a small crystal from her torn jacket. It glowed with a faint blue light. "I'm not some random refugee. I'm a member of the Starborn High Council. Or I was, until 3 days ago." Jack laughed, but it died in his throat when he saw her serious expression. The Starborn were the most advanced species known to humanity. They acted as peacekeepers in this part of space, supposedly helping younger races develop. Everyone knew that. "The Council is corrupt," Lily continued, her voice growing stronger. "They're not helping human colonies. They're exploiting them. This crystal contains proof that they're deliberately sabotaging human technology, keeping your people dependent on us." Jack crossed his arms. "Why should I believe you? For all I know, you're making this up to save yourself." Lily touched the crystal to the ship's computer panel. Immediately, holographic images filled the cockpit. Jack saw familiar scenes: failed colony ships, struggling outposts, accidents that had been blamed on human error. But the documents showed something else. Careful plans to ensure those failures. "They laugh at humans in the council chambers," Lily said, her voice bitter. "They call you primitive, reckless. But I've watched your people. You succeed despite everything we do to hold you back. That's why I had to act." A warning light flashed on the console. 3 more ships had appeared on the long-range scanner. "They're not giving up," Jack muttered, checking their fuel levels. "We can't outrun them forever." "No," Lily agreed. "But we don't have to." She pointed to a spot on the navigation map. "There's a human outpost here, on Mining Station 47. It's officially abandoned, but I know smugglers use it. We can hide there and transmit this data across every communication channel in the sector." Jack studied her face carefully. He'd gotten good at reading people in his years of trading, human or alien. There was fear in her eyes, yes, but also determination. And something else: hope. "You really believe in this, don't you?" he asked. "Enough to give up everything." "The Council taught us we were superior," she replied. "But superiority isn't about having better technology. It's about doing what's right." She met his gaze steadily. "Will you help me?" Before Jack could answer, the ship shuddered violently. A warning siren screamed through the cockpit. "They're using long-range pulse weapons," Jack shouted, jumping back into the pilot's seat. "They're trying to disable us." Lily grabbed the crystal and pressed it into Jack's hand. "Take it. If they catch us, you must complete the mission. The truth has to get out." Another blast rocked the ship. Warning lights flashed across every console as systems began to fail. Jack looked at the crystal, then at Lily. 50 million credits would solve all his problems, but the fear in her eyes was real. And if she was telling the truth, he handed the crystal back to her. "Keep it safe. We do this together, or not at all." He turned to the controls, a plan forming in his mind. "But first, let me show you another trick humans are good at: making something work with absolutely nothing." As their pursuers closed in, Jack's hands flew across the controls. Sometimes the best way forward was to do something so crazy that no advanced alien race would ever expect it. And if there was one thing humans excelled at, it was being unpredictable. Mining Station 47 looked dead from the outside. Its metal walls were covered in space dust, and half its docking lights were broken. But Jack knew better. He guided his damaged ship into a dark maintenance bay, using only minimal power to avoid detection. "This is your plan?" Lily asked, looking at the rusty walls around them. "Hide in an abandoned human station." Jack smiled as he shut down the engines. Rule 1 about humans: nothing is what it seems. He pulled up a hidden panel in the floor, revealing a toolkit. Now let me show you how we survive out here. Over the next few hours, Jack taught Lily about human ingenuity. He showed her how to bypass security systems using old mining tools, how to turn broken communication arrays into makeshift scanners, and how to hide their energy signatures using techniques that any experienced human spacer knew. But this is so primitive, Lily said, watching him connect wires that should never work together. The council would say this is dangerous and unreliable. That's exactly why it works, Jack replied, testing the connection. Your people look for advanced technology, perfect solutions. They'd never expect someone to turn old mining equipment into a defense system. Lily helped him work, her elegant hands getting dirty for the first time in her life. She was surprised to find herself enjoying it. There was something satisfying about making things work without relying on advanced starborn technology. Why did you decide to help me? She asked, passing him tools. You could have turned me in for the reward. Jack paused his work, considering the question. Because I've seen too many human colonies struggle while the starborn watched from their fancy ships. If what you're saying is true, people need to know. A light flashed on Jack's makeshift scanner. They're searching nearby systems, he reported. But they won't find us. Not yet. Lily watched in amazement as Jack turned the station's old mineral processing units into transmission boosters. This will let us broadcast the data to every colony in the sector, he explained. Once it's out there, they can't stop it. But won't they trace the signal? She asked. Jack grinned. Rule 2 about humans: we're really good at making distractions. He pointed to several other locations on the station map. We'll set up fake transmitters. When they track the signal, they'll find empty rooms. Classic human trick. As they worked, Lily found herself studying Jack more closely. He wasn't anything like the humans she'd seen in council meetings, those carefully selected representatives in clean suits. He was real, practical, and somehow more alive than anyone she'd known in her sheltered life. You know, she said, helping him calibrate another transmitter. The council always said humans were too reckless, too willing to take risks. But I'm starting to think that's your strength. We take risks because we have to, Jack replied. When you don't have fancy technology to rely on, you learn to trust your instincts and skills. A distant boom echoed through the station. Jack quickly checked his scanners. Patrol ships, he said. They're searching sector by sector. We got maybe 2 hours before they reach us. Lily felt fear rise in her throat, but pushed it down. She'd seen enough of human courage to know this wasn't the time for panic. Then we better work faster. Show me more of your human tricks. Jack looked at her with surprise and respect. The scared stowaway he'd found on his ship was gone. In her place was someone who understood what they were fighting for. Rule 3 about humans, he said, handing her a welding tool. We never give up, even when the odds are impossible. As they raced to complete their preparations, Lily made a silent vow. No matter what happened, she would make sure the galaxy learned the truth, not just about the Council's corruption, but about the real strength of humanity. It wasn't in their technology or their weapons, but in their endless ability to adapt and overcome. The patrol ships drew closer, but in the depths of Mining Station 47, human ingenuity was about to teach the most advanced race in the galaxy a lesson they'd never forget. The starborn patrol ships surrounded Mining Station 47, their sleek hulls gleaming against the darkness of space. Inside the station, Jack and Lily crouched behind old mining equipment, watching scanner readings on their jury-rigged display. 6 ships, Jack whispered. More than we expected. A voice boomed through the station's old speakers. This is Commander Vale of the Starborn Fleet. We know you're here, Princess Lily. Surrender now, and the human will be spared. Jack turned to Lily in shock. Princess. She looked away, her purple skin darkening with shame. I'm sorry. I should have told you. I'm not just any council member. I'm the High Chancellor's daughter. Before Jack could respond, Heavy footsteps echoed through the corridors. Starborn troops in shining armor were boarding the station. "We need to move," Jack said, pushing aside his questions. "The transmission isn't ready yet." They ran through dark corridors, guided by Jack's knowledge of human maintenance tunnels. But at every turn, more troops appeared. They were being herded. Jack realized too late. Finally, they reached a dead end. Commander Vale stood before them, flanked by soldiers with advanced weapons. His silver armor made him look like a statue come to life. "Lily," Vale said smoothly, "your father is very disappointed. Come home now, and all will be forgiven." Jack raised his makeshift weapon, but Lily put a hand on his arm. "Wait," she said softly. Then, to everyone's surprise, she walked toward Vale. "You're right, Commander," she said, her voice clear and cold. "This has gone far enough." She turned to face Jack, and her eyes were hard as steel. "I'm sorry, human, but did you really think a princess would choose you over her own people?" Jack felt like he'd been punched in the gut. All the talk about believing in humanity, all those hours working together, had it all been a lie? Vale smiled. "Take the human to the brig. He'll be questioned about any copies of the data he might have made." Two soldiers grabbed Jack's arms. He didn't resist, still staring at Lily in disbelief. She wouldn't meet his eyes. "Commander," Lily said, "let me speak to him first. I owe him that much." Vale nodded indulgently. "Of course, Princess, but make it quick." Lily approached Jack, her face unreadable. She reached out and straightened his dirty jacket, leaning close. "Thank you for teaching me about humans," she whispered, so softly only he could hear. Her hand slipped something into his pocket. "Especially about being unpredictable." Jack kept his face neutral, but his mind raced. In his pocket, he felt the familiar shape of the data crystal. "Take him away," Lily commanded, stepping back. "And make sure he's comfortable. He did try to help me, after all." As the soldiers led Jack away, he caught a glimpse of Lily walking with Vale, her head held high. She was asking about her father, keeping the commander distracted. In his cell, Jack waited until the guards were distracted. Then he pulled out not just the crystal, but a small device Lily had slipped him, a remote trigger they'd built together. "Rule 4 about humans," he muttered, pressing the button. "We're really good at playing along." Across the station, their trap sprang to life. The makeshift transmitters they'd built weren't decoys. They were all real, broadcasting the crystal's data simultaneously. The Starborn would have to destroy the entire station to stop the transmission, and by then it would be too late. Alarms blared as the truth about the Council spread across every communication channel in the sector. Jack smiled, remembering how Lily had learned to wire those transmitters herself, getting her fancy clothes dirty in the process. In the confusion, he heard fighting outside his cell. The door slid open, revealing Lily with a stolen weapon. "Miss me?" she asked, her royal accent gone. "You're a good actor, Princess," Jack replied, getting up. "Almost had me fooled." She grinned. "I learned from the best. Now come on. We have more human tricks to teach the Starborn." Chaos erupted throughout Mining Station 47 as the stolen data spread across every communication channel. Jack and Lily ran through the corridors, dodging energy blasts from pursuing Starborn troops. "The data is everywhere now," Lily said, checking the stolen communicator. "Every human colony, every trading post, every independent station. They're all seeing the truth about the Council." They ducked into a maintenance shaft as more soldiers ran past. Through the station's old speakers, they could hear fragments of transmissions flooding in from across the sector. Deliberate sabotage of human colony ships. Proof of Council interference. Systematic suppression of human technology. Jack watched the realization spread across Lily's face as she heard her father's voice in one recording, calmly discussing plans to keep humanity dependent on Starborn aid. Her purple skin paled, but her determination didn't waver. "My whole family is implicated," she whispered. "Generations of my bloodline. all part of this. You're not responsible for their choices, Jack said, checking their makeshift scanner. You chose differently. A massive explosion shook the station. Commander Vale's voice boomed through the corridors. Princess Lily, your father is here. The High Chancellor himself has come to resolve this situation. Lily's eyes widened. He never leaves the capital. This must be serious. Good, Jack replied, pulling out tools from his pockets. Because we're not done yet. Remember what I taught you about human backup plans. They worked quickly, converting old mining equipment into makeshift defenses. Jack had spent years learning how to repurpose human technology, and now he washed with pride as Lily applied those lessons with natural skill. The Council always said humans were wasteful, she said, rewiring a broken mining laser. They couldn't understand why you kept old technology, why you modified everything. But now I see, you don't waste anything. You make it better. Another explosion rocked the station. Through a viewport, they saw a massive starborne ship dock, the High Chancellor's personal vessel. It was beautiful, all gleaming metal and pulsing energy fields. That's my father's ship, Lily said. The most advanced vessel in the starborne fleet. Jack grinned. All that technology, and they still can't find us in here. Want to know why? Because they don't understand human spaces, Lily answered, finally getting it. These maintenance tunnels, the jury-rigged systems, they're scanning for advanced technology, but we're using things they consider obsolete. Heavy footsteps approached their position. The High Chancellor's elite guards were closing in. But Jack and Lily had prepared for this, using everything the station had to offer. Before the High Chancellor's footsteps echoed through Mining Station 47, each step precise and measured. He was tall, even for a starborn, his skin a deep royal purple and his robes shimmering with embedded technology. The elite guards surrounded him, their weapons ready. Lily, his voice carried power and authority. You've made your point. Now end this foolishness. Hidden in their prepared position, Jack and Lily exchanged glances. Their traps were set, their plans in motion. Around them, the old mining station hummed with jury-rigged human technology. That's not my name anymore, Father, Lily called out, her voice strong. My title died with your lies. The High Chancellor stopped, his face darkening. You would throw away centuries of tradition. For what? These humans. He gestured at the rusty walls around them. Look at how they live. Look at what they build. I am looking, Lily replied. She pressed a button on their makeshift console. Throughout the station, hidden speakers came to life, broadcasting their conversation to every human colony and station in range. I see people who build something from nothing, who survive despite everything you've done to hold them back. Jack activated their first trap. Old mining drills burst to life, their industrial sounds masking his and Lily's movements as they changed positions. The elite guards fired at the noise, their advanced weapons hitting nothing but shadows. Enough. The High Chancellor raised his hand, and energy pulsed from his robes. Every light in the corridor went dark. Your human tricks can't match our technology. Really? Jack's voice came from the darkness. Rule 6 about humans. We're really good at working in the dark. Suddenly, emergency lights flashed on, but not the station's original ones. These were makeshift lamps that Jack and Lily had placed, creating disorienting patterns that confused the Starborn's advanced optical systems. The guards stumbled, their targeting systems overwhelmed by the irregular light patterns. Jack and Lily moved fast, using paths they'd memorized, disabling guards with repurposed mining tools turned into stunners. This is what you've become. The High Chancellor's voice was cold as he watched his guards fall. A common rebel using human weapons. No, Father. Lily emerged from the shadows, standing tall. I've become someone who sees the truth. Your technology, your superiority. It's all built on lies and the suppression of others. The Chancellor raised his hand again, energy gathering around him. I gave you everything. You gave me chains, Lily replied. She nodded to Jack. who threw the switch they'd prepared. Every mining processor in the station activated at once, creating a massive electromagnetic pulse. The Chancellor's robes flickered and died, his advanced technology useless. "Impossible," he whispered, staring at his dead systems. "No," Jack said, stepping forward. "Just human engineering. Sometimes the old ways work best." More guards rushed in from the Chancellor's ship, but they weren't prepared for what waited. Simple tripwires triggered mining foam sprayers, security doors slammed shut on makeshift timers, and magnetic fields from repurposed ore separators pulled their weapons away. The High Chancellor watched in disbelief as his elite forces were defeated by technology his people had dismissed as primitive. His own daughter, covered in dirt and grease, fought alongside a human, using their methods with skill and pride. "You cannot win," the Chancellor said, but his voice held a note of uncertainty. "The Council will never accept this." "The Council doesn't have a choice," Lily replied. "Look." On every screen in the station, reports were flooding in. Human colonies rising up, demanding investigations. Independent worlds calling for justice. Even some starborn worlds, seeing the evidence, were demanding answers. "Your perfect system is falling," Jack said, "not through war or advanced technology, but through the simple human art of exposing the truth." The High Chancellor looked at his daughter one last time, seeing not the princess he'd raised, but someone stronger, someone free. "Surrender," Lily said quietly. "Show that at least one more thing we inherited from humans, the wisdom to know when we're beaten." Around them, Mining Station 47 hummed with human ingenuity, proof that the simplest solutions were often the strongest. The High Chancellor, surrounded by failed technology and defeated guards, finally lowered his head. The revolution wouldn't be won with advanced weapons or superior technology. It would be won with determination, creativity, and the courage to stand up for what was right. All things humanity had been teaching the galaxy all along. 3 months after the events at Mining Station 47, Jack's cargo ship drifted through space with a new coat of paint and several creative modifications. In the co-pilot's seat, Lily checked their latest delivery manifest. "Another shipment of agricultural supplies for the outer colonies?" she asked, raising an eyebrow. Her once royal accent had picked up traces of human spacer slang. "Perfectly legal this time," Jack replied with a grin. "Though I might have added some extra mining equipment they didn't officially request. You know how those colonies always need spare parts." The ship's computer beeped with an incoming transmission. On the screen, a news report showed the former High Chancellor facing trial, along with other council members. The Starborn Empire was changing, slowly but surely. "Missing the palace yet?" Jack asked, watching Lily's reaction. She looked down at her worn cargo pilot's uniform, then at her hands, still marked with engine grease from their morning repairs. "Not even a little," she answered honestly. "Though I do miss the look on Father's face when we beat him with broken mining equipment." "Speaking of equipment," Jack said, "want to see what I did to the engine cooling system? Found a way to boost efficiency by 30% using parts from an old food processor." Lily's eyes lit up. In the months since their escape, she'd thrown herself into learning everything about human engineering. The Council had called it primitive, but she'd discovered an elegance in its simplicity, a beauty in making something work with whatever was available. "First," she said, standing up, "I have something important to say." Her voice took on a formal tone that reminded Jack of her royal past. "Should I be worried?" he asked, turning his chair to face her. "I've been thinking about my place in the universe," Lily began. "The Starborn taught us that status comes from power and advanced technology, but humans showed me it comes from what you do, how you help others." She knelt before Jack, causing him to lean back in surprise. "What are you doing?" "Something my people would never understand," she said with a smile. "I, former princess of the Starborn, formally pledge myself to serve alongside you, Jack of Earth, as an equal partner in all ventures and adventures." "Lily, you don't have to." She held up a hand to stop him. "Let me finish. This isn't about duty or obligation. It's about choice. Humans taught me that real loyalty isn't commanded, it's earned. And you've earned mine. Jack watched her, seeing not the scared stowaway he found months ago, but a strong partner who'd chosen her own path. I vow to use everything I've learned, both starborn knowledge and human ingenuity, to help those who need it. To show the galaxy that true advancement isn't about having the best technology, but about having the wisdom to use what you have well. She stood up, offering her hand. Partners. Jack took her hand and pulled her into a hug instead. Partners, he agreed. Though you might regret that when you see the mess I made rewiring the food synthesizer. Lily laughed, then moved to the ship's controls. You know, humans are the most surprising species I've ever met. Just when the galaxy thinks they understand you, you prove them wrong. That's Rule 7 about humans, Jack said, setting course for their next delivery. We're full of surprises. Their ship accelerated into the darkness of space, its hybrid of human and starborn technology humming smoothly. In the cargo hold, their latest shipment of supplies waited, along with a few extra pieces of outdated human technology that would help another colony stand on its own. Where to next? Lily asked, already pulling up star charts. Wherever there's people who need help, Jack replied. And wherever we can show the galaxy what happens when human creativity meets starborn knowledge. As their ship disappeared into the starfield, Lily smiled. She'd lost a throne, but gained something better. A purpose, a partner, and the freedom to choose her own path. And she wouldn't have it any other way. After all, sometimes the best tricks weren't tricks at all. They were simply the truth about what people could achieve when they worked together as equals.